Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise once again to ask the Minister of Finance why he finds it acceptable to not table a budget before he and the Prime Minister, the so-called man with the plan, head off on summer vacation. Budgeting is not optional for families and small businesses across this great country, and it should not be possible or optional for the federal government either. Months of uncertainty about Canada's finances will undoubtedly harm Canada's credit rating, as well as spook investors into moving further capital out of this country. Although that shouldn't surprise anyone, given the Prime Minister's track record of moving capital and jobs out of Canada and over to his friends on Wall Street in New York City. The Prime Minister promised to cap spending at 2%, but then immediately turned around and handed
There are no points of order.
handed Canadians a tax bill. Good try to my friends from the Liberal Party. A tax bill that shattered the promise and jacked up spending 8%. The only thing that Canadians can confidently expect from this Liberal government and these Liberal MPs who just tried to silence me is rising housing prices, now rising car prices, soaring debt, runaway overall inflation, and absolutely zero economic leadership, just like we've seen for the last 10 years. Canadians, and particularly young Canadians that I represent, are the ones who are going to be on the hook for paying this government's reckless spending. Take the millions of dollars that were dished out to the Liberals insiders at GC Strategies, for example. Tens of millions of dollars that lined the pockets of their insider friends on the backs of young Canadian families who work hard to make an honest dollar and put healthy groceries on the table and gas in their vehicles to take their kids to hockey practice and piano lessons. Just last week, this House voted to force the government to make sure that the $64 million paid to GC Strategies was returned within 100 days. Only time will tell if this government will follow the will of Canadians and their democratically elected representatives, or if it will side with their insider friends who are surely sitting on a beach or a fancy yacht by now waiting for those Liberal MPs to join them. A budget is Canada's best opportunity to review the decisions that the Government of Canada is making. It is not optional for families and businesses in Brandon-Souris, and it should not be optional for this Liberal Prime Minister, his Liberal Minister of Finance, or those Liberal MPs. So my question is, why are the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister completely ignoring the will of Canadians in the House of Commons and refusing to table a complete, transparent and accountable budget before the House rises on Friday?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the President of the Treasury Board.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The people of my riding sent me here to get a job done. They sent our government here to get a job done. And let me be crystal clear, this government has been focused on getting the job done. We've delivered middle-class tax cut that will support 22 million Canadians. Housing is another area where Canadians asked us to be decisive and act quickly, and this government delivered. Targeted, ambitious measures to support first-time homebuyers. We're supporting purpose-built rentals, unlocking public lands, and we're cutting red tape to get shovels in the ground faster. And when it comes to the business of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, this government is showing what responsible leadership looks like. We've passed main estimates, we've passed supplementary estimates, we've funded what needed to be funded, and we did it with transparency, and we did it efficiently. And now, Mr. Speaker, we're moving forward with one Canadian economy, which is a transformative piece of legislation to strengthen our economic union. We are streamlining interprovincial trade so that we can build a more productive, more competitive economy that works for every region of Canada. We are breaking down barriers, Mr. Speaker, so that we can build up the Canadian economy. In Newfoundland and Labrador, this means better access to markets, more efficient regulations, a more unified approach to energy development, infrastructure, and workforce mobility, We're building one economy for all Canadians. It is time to get to work, and that is what the public want us to do. That is what we as parliamentarians have been sent here to do. If we respect the will of Canadians, we will put petty politics aside and focus on getting things done for Canadians. Look at what we've accomplished in a matter of just a couple of months. We're not just talking, Mr. Speaker, we are acting. We're not just promising, we are delivering, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I will say this with confidence and conviction, we are only just getting started.
The honourable member for Grandin Souris.
What a relief, Mr. Speaker, that they're just getting started, because the first 3 weeks of this government has surely been a disappointment to Canadians. That member talks about transparency, leadership and accountability. As the parliamentary secretary to the Minister of the Treasury Board, why hasn't that minister and that parliamentary secretary introduced a budget? All of these things would give Canadians confidence in the financial literacy of this government, would give them confidence in the transparency, the leadership, and financial accountability that this member talks about but has not delivered in the first weeks of this government. So why will this member, who talks laudably about all of these highfalutin goals but has delivered none of them, not stand up and force his minister to deliver a budget before the House rises for the summer, to deliver for his constituents in Newfoundland and all the rest of this great country of Canadians?
What a great new MP!
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll remind the member it's Newfoundland and Labrador. Mr. Speaker, as I said in my previous statement, we've hit the ground running, and we're not wasting a single moment, Mr. Speaker, in delivering for Canadians. We've cut taxes for the middle class. We've launched bold measures for first-time home buyers. We've passed main estimates. We've passed supplementary estimates, Mr. Speaker. And now, Mr. Speaker, we are well on our way with the One Canadian Economy Act, legislation that will build a stronger, more unified economy from coast to coast to coast in this province, Mr. Speaker. Numbers speak for themselves. The Prime Minister is 65% in the polls, Mr. Speaker. The only thing that hasn't changed in this Parliament, Mr. Speaker, is the petty politics of the opposition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.